come in and just put my hand over that, there you go, it's turned on. And it's also turned that one on because obviously I've already got a rule for that, and now it's changed the colour to white. So if I click that now, there you go, curtains start closing. And there you go. It's a shortcut to all your devices. Hi there, today I'm going to be doing a video showing the Smart Life app and in a more of a deep dive. And that means I'll be showing a lot of detail just regarding this app. Now, you may have seen me using this app on previous videos I've done, unboxing smart tech, but I've always felt like I should be showing more regarding this app because there's so much it can do. And a lot of the time when you're using it just to add in a bulb or a plug, for example, a lot of people aren't using it to its full potential. So just to mention, the Smart Life app itself, it's identical to the Tuya app. So if you're using that, the same things will apply on that as well. So I'm at my Android phone. I've gone to the Play Store and I've searched for Smart Life, and you can see this is the app we're after. Let me click install and let me give it a moment. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to turn on notifications. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and drop me a message, let me know what you think. If you don't like it, make it count by hitting thumbs down twice. Now it's installed, let me click open, and next we need to register an account. So if I click register, privacy agreement's there, if I click agree, and then we just need to register an account. So I've already got an account. If you haven't got an account, register it. So let me now go back and enter in my account details. So let me do that off camera. Now I've signed in, this is what I'm presented with. So it's saying all cameras, view multiple camera videos in one screen, and it's got a got it button. So you've got a shortcut there to view all your cameras. If I click on the got it, and then this is what we're presented with. So you can see at the bottom, I've got a lot of devices in here. If you're using this for the first time, your list will just be empty and you'll be looking to add in some smart tech. So let's try adding in a bulb first of all. So I've got a generic bulb here, and what we're going to do, we're going to click on the plus icon, go to lighting Wi-Fi, and let me turn the bulb on now. So it's saying we need to get this bulb in a flashing state. So at the moment, it doesn't seem to be flashing. So what it says, turn it on and off multiple times. Now, one thing to note, there's two modes of operation. So if I look in the corner here, you can see net pairing mode. So if I click on that, you can see easy mode, which is default, and AP mode. And look, there you go, it's just started flashing. So at the moment, it's in easy mode. So that means it's ready to pick up the config from your phone. But you have a separate mode, which I haven't ever actually shown, which is AP mode. Now, to get the device into AP mode, we need to turn it on and off a number of times so it starts flashing slowly. So what I'm going to do is show easy mode first. So let's keep it on this. And as it's rapidly flashing, I'll just say confirm. It needs access to location. I'll say allow only while using the app. Now it needs you to select your Wi-Fi. So because it asks for permission, you need to go back once. If I go back in, click confirm, it appears straight away. Next, let me enter in my Wi-Fi password. Let me do that off camera. I've entered my password. Let me click confirm. And there you go, added in, as simple as that. Now if I click done, there's the bulb, turn it off, turn it on. Now, let me come over here, scroll down and remove the device. So I've shown this method many a time. Now let's try the next method. So if I go here and change pairing mode to AP mode, now we need to reset the device. So turn it off and on multiple times, and then it should start blinking slowly. So it's blinking slowly now. So if I just change the pairing mode to AP mode, so it's giving the message to get it into a state where it's blinking slowly. So if I now click confirm, so now it's asking for my Wi-Fi password. Details are cached as I previously entered them in, so I can just click confirm. And now it's saying connect your mobile phone to the device's hotspot. So now it's actually giving out a Wi-Fi hotspot on here. So if I click on go to connect, you can just see it here, Smart Life. So if I click on that, So it's saying connected without internet, and that's expected. Obviously it's not connected to anything, and you're not going to expect to get internet connectivity off a bulb. Now if I go back, and now it's trying to connect to it. There you go, successfully added. So what it's done, this is a scenario where you're having problems connecting to it via normal easy mode. And if you're having those problems, then put it into AP mode. So hopefully that should give you an alternative to try and connect to this. Now, as you saw, gave a hotspot, connect to the hotspot, and then what happens is it passes a config over to it, and then the device tries to connect to your Wi-Fi network. Again, just to note, a lot of these devices only work on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so keep that in mind. And the reason being, the range is longer on 2.4 gigahertz. 5 gigahertz is a much shorter range on there. Okay, let me click done now, and there you go. It's added in, turn it on and off, and all the other options are available. Next thing to mention is the fact you can have devices in other people's houses. So for example, if you have elderly parents, so if you look on my device here, if I scroll all the way along, you can see parents' house. So if I click there, there's two devices there. They're currently offline because they're off, but the way this works, when I'm at their house, what I do, I initialize the device and set up the device on their Wi-Fi network. So once that's done, I can actually control it wherever I am. So it doesn't mean you can only set up these devices in one location. You can set up in random locations as long as there's a Wi-Fi connection there to give the device connectivity. You can have all these devices under one app and set them up as normal, no different, and control or even view things. So for example, if you had a Wi-Fi camera, you could set that up and then obviously keep an eye on things over there. And on top of that, you can also share devices. So now if I come back to my bulb, go to edit, and you can see share device. Now this is where you can share the device with other people. So if a member of your family had Smart Life or Tuya installed on their phone and you wanted to share a device with them, it's just a matter of clicking add sharing, entering their details of how they've registered either their phone number or their email address, and once you've added it, they'll immediately be able to access it. It's a very useful functionality. If you wanted to keep an eye or even have smart tech in another property, you can do that without any issues, and you can share the device with other people as well. So now we have a device installed as well as all the other items I have. Here's an interesting feature. You can actually put widgets on your home screen as a shortcut to get to the device without opening up the app. So if I hold on to here, click on widgets, and I can just type in Smart Life, and there you go, it's just here. If I click on that, there's two options, so tap to run and device widget. So I'll show the tap to run later. Let's go for device widget first. And there you go. It's a shortcut to all your devices. If I scroll down, that's all the items I have. If I scroll back up again, there's the bulb. And there's a quick way of turning it on and off without actually going in the app. Quite a useful facility to have. If you had a few items, at least you can just quickly go onto the page and then control the device. Next thing to show is if you have multiple smart devices in different locations in your property, it's worth creating some rooms. So if you see here, I've got all devices initially, and that's the default one you can see here. But if I move along, you can see studio, living room, porch, hallway, kitchen, garden, and HL there. Now, over here on the three dots, you can see room management, and you can create your different rooms here. And you can see over at the side, it shows you the number of devices you've got in those rooms. Now, the idea behind that is it's just easier to find things. So instead of looking, if you had quite a few items, hunting around for things, it'll take quite a while. So if you had the rooms, if I just click studio, I can see all the items in my studio, living room, you can see the items in my living room, and then hallway, porch. So useful to do and nice to organize these things so you're not hunting through. Now, if I click on the three dots, you've got device sequence. This is quite a nice option. If I click on there, I can actually move things around in terms of ordering. So now if I move it down there, get it after that and click done, you can see now it's the third item along. Next one being list view, so you can have it in a list view as well. Again, what you can do, you can actually organize the view so the things you use more frequently, just put them at the top. Now, looking on the room, if I click on there, go to device sequence, again, you can see I'm not seeing the sequence. So that's one annoyance on the room. So if you did have a lot of items in the room, you can't move them around. They should have really changed that so that's enabled, but hopefully in the future they'll make some amendments to that. Next thing to show is cameras. So if I click on there, all the cameras you have added in, they'll display here. So you can see my porch camera over here. If you had multiple cameras added into Smart Life, they'll all be appearing in this dialog. And it's quite useful. Obviously, you don't have to find each camera at a time. You can just go to that one option and they'll all appear. Looking at the bottom, you've got multiple options for them. So if I click on there, go into full screen, come back from there. If it has two-way audio, you can speak or even listen what's going on, take snapshots and record from the bottom. And you can see here there's PTZ controls as well. Nice shortcut feature. And you can see at the top, not all cameras are compatible with this feature. So I've got a couple of cameras from Energy which I've turned on. And you can see here, this device is not compatible with this feature, and similar thing here with another camera. So again, it's tough. It's not as if when you buy a camera, it's automatically going to work. It's only some cameras that have this facility enabled. So keep that in mind when you do purchase, if you wanted to make use of this feature. Next, if I click here, allow Smart Life to record audio. So if I click allow, you can actually get it to do things. So it's another method for voice control. So instead of using your Alexa or Google, you can just go via this directly. So let me come out for a moment, and the new bulb's called Low Has RGB. Okay, if we rename this, we'll just call it Test Light. And now if we go to the option, turn on Test Light. Turn off test light. Turn off test light. There you go. How useful is that? So you don't even have to say it to Google or your Alexa. You can do it directly off the app itself. Next, let me show some of the automation that's possible on this. So if I click on Smart, you can see Tap to Run and automation. So let's try Tap to Run first of all. So if I click on the plus, and if I now click Launch Tap to Run, run the device, test light, and I can say switch on. Save to that. We've got other options here. So if I click on mode, and you can see you've got different modes, and at the bottom you can select scenes as well. So this is quite interesting, especially for a bulb. So if for instance you wanted something to happen when you press a button, you can get it happening here. So for example, if I just go to scene 1, for instance, I don't know what the settings are, so these scenes can be amended. So let me just select that and change the brightness to be around 29%, click save to that, click next to that. So what will happen, there's now a new button. So the name of the device is just over here. I can rename it and call it what I like. There's the details on there, so you can see launch tap to run, task is turn the light on, set the scene, and then the brightness. Now if I click save, it's just here. So now if I click that, turns on, and there you go, the colors change to the scene. So scene 1. So you may think, what's the point of this? Because you can just go into the actual device and do this. The thing about this is you can get multiple things working at the same time. So you're not limited to just the bulb. So for instance, this power strip, if I press the button here, obviously it turns on. If I press it again, it turns off. Now what I've done, I've got my lamp here and I've plugged it into the power strip. So that's what's powering the actual lamp at the moment. Now coming back from here, just to show something. So for the test light, scene mode, And they're the 4 scenes we're selecting. So if I click on one of them, click edit, you can see the colors changing. Right, now if I click back, if I go into here, you can set different options. So there's a speed option to change, so I can take that right down, and then brightness levels you can adjust as well, and saturation as well on this. So now once it's set, it's just set on there. If I come back, so scene 1 is blue, and I could say scene 2 can be green, and we can dump some of these colors here. So you can have multiple colors. This one's got 2, I can't see an option to delete it, so we can just leave it as that. And we'll click there, speed is 1 on there as well. So that's it. So scene 1 is blue, scene 2 is green. Now if I come back, go to Smart, go to the options here. Now it's a bit flaky sometimes going back into the edit. There you go, now it's gone in after a few clicks. Now you can see these options here which I've already selected. You can see mode, scene 1 is there, brightness is 29%. We can delete items if we wanted to, so if I hold on to one, move it aside, you've got the delete option, don't need that. Now if I go here, plus, I can add a delay if I wanted to. So let's add a delay of 5 seconds, and then let's add another option on there. So we'll say run the device, test light, and we'll change the mode to scene 2. So in theory, what it should do, it should turn the light on initially, then it should go to scene 1, blue, wait 5 seconds, and then change the light color to green. Now if I click save to that, now if we come back to home, just to highlight something, we've got a shortcut there. So you can see turn on test light. So that's a shortcut button to initiate the action. So let's turn off the light first of all. Okay, that's off now. And now I have 2 options of going on that automation. So I can either go here to turn that on, or I can do it from the shortcut here. So let's do it from the shortcut here. There you go, it's turned on. Initially it's blue, and then it's flipped over to green. How cool is that? So you can set up your own customized settings to do things. So now if I come back, go back to Smart, click on there. There you go. Now to get rid of that shortcut, the option is just up here, show on home page. If I do that, click save, and now if I go back, it's no longer on the home page. So you can add what you want and remove what you don't want. Now, if I go back in there, so now looking down the bottom here, if I now click on plus, so you can see here we're just controlling one device. Next thing, if I now click run the device, go to studio lights, and plug 1, we want to turn on, so that will be that plug turning on. If I click save to that, next, and it's added to the bottom, so it's added that in. Now if I click plus now, we'll do another delay, 2 seconds, click next to that, and then do run the device, vintage lamp, and that's the one I have there. I can change the brightness to 100% on there. If I click next to that, add it in one more time, and we'll take the brightness down to the minimum on that. Click next, save. Now if I come back to home, turn the light off, turn the plug off, and if I now click it, you can just see the actions that are being carried out one by one. Turns it on, it's at maximum brightness. So it's all to do with execution speed. So it's both kicked in, it looks like, at the same time. Let's go back in there. Now looking down here, you can see the ordering of things. So I can add in another delay. Do the same thing again, 2 seconds. Well, let's go for a bit more this time. Let's go for 4. And I can just move that up as well. So if you want to change the ordering of things, that's possible as well. So let's click save to that. So it should go to maximum brightness, wait 4 seconds, and then go down to minimum brightness. Now perhaps the delay I've got is too short. at the beginning, because obviously as that smart bulb is turned on, so these are all smart devices, this one, and this one, perhaps it's not quick enough for it to give it enough time to join the Wi-Fi. So if I change that delay, let's change that to 5 seconds, click save. So what we'll do, let's come back for a moment, turn off the light, turn the switch off here. And now if I go to smart and click on turn on test light, there you go, it's turned the light on, turn to green, turn the switch on, vintage lamp should go to 100% brightness in a moment. Again, there you go, ordering wasn't very good, speed wasn't very good. So now let's try a slightly different way. If I drop that one, let's try it by adding in the vintage lamp. Okay, so it's there at the bottom, we'll move that up. If I hold on to it, by the icon, and we'll take it up to there. And now, if I come back, go back to home, studio, turn off the vintage light, turn the test light off, so they're all off. We're not using the power strip. And if I now click here, so there you go, both lights have turned on, brightness should change. There you go, change to maximum after the pause, and it's gone down to minimum. And there you go, all the actions have executed. So it proves a good point here that the lamp here obviously was plugged into a smart socket. Now, these devices need time to initialize. They're not going to instantly initialize. Like your mobile, for instance. If your mobile joins your Wi-Fi network, it's not going to start giving internet connectivity within that first second. It needs a couple of seconds to connect. Now, if you're doing this sort of automation, best to just have the secondary bulb plugged in permanently as well, and just in the off position, so you know it's already on your Wi-Fi and it doesn't need time to connect. So there you go, interesting bit of functionality, two lights working in conjunction, and you can set timers on there. So for instance, you could set a timer to say turn one light on. If that light's on, then turn another one on after a certain period. Now if I just click OK to this, another thing I wanted to show, if I go to home and we go back into test light, click over here, tap to run automation. So because we've used it, we can see all the tap to run automations we've created now. So that's good. So if you were unsure where it is used, you can just go into device and it will be listed out. Now clicking on there, it will take you straight in there. Now let's go to smart and automation. So this is an interesting one as well. So this is where automation can run automatically. So you can see I've got quite a few in there at the moment, just different tests I've been running in the background. So an automation would be an action that happens when something else happens, if that makes sense to you in a way. So now if I come here, let's turn this off, and we'll go to the studio one, turn that off as well. So both the lights are off. Now what I can do, if I click on the plus, when the device status changes, now if I click on that, test light, and if it's turned on, we can say we want it to do something. Now if I click run the device, and then I can say my vintage lamp, I want to turn that on at the same time. And now you can see all the details behind it, and you can even rename it if you wanted to, if you didn't want to go for the default name. The default name is literally made up of the rules you've created here. Now looking below, you can see effective period. So you could say this piece of automation is only effective during certain time frames. So you could say, if I click on custom, during these time periods, start and end period, and repeat every day. So an example would be, you come home, you press a button to turn your light on in your hallway, and that initiates a rule to turn on all the lights in the house. So you could have your kitchen, your bedroom, your hallway upstairs, your living room light from a single click. Now, if I come back, click save to that, automation created, start using it, yes. Now, it's there, tap to run, there's nothing there. Come into home, there's no shortcut. Obviously this is automation. It's not something you initiate by pressing something in your app. So if I now go to the test light, click on, there you go, the other light turns on. How clever is that? So different things you can control. Now coming back here, go into automation, you can add to the conditions here. So if I click on plus, and if you look here, schedule, so you can say if the light's turned on and it's a certain time period. So you might be turning on the light during the day, but you don't want the other lights to turn on either. So you could actually say at a certain time, that's when you want it to occur. So when the light's turned on and it's this sort of time. Interesting bit of functionality, you can make quite a lot of use out of this. Now going back into it, when the weather changes, when the location changes, if I click on that one, different things here, you can see temperature, if there's a temperature change. So this will be going by the location you've selected in the app. So you can change this location. So you can say if the temperature is a certain temperature, humidity values there as well, weather, sunset, sunrise. So you can say if it's sunrise and the light's been turned on, then do the following action. The possibilities are really endless here. The only limitation really is your imagination and how you can make use of this stuff. Now here's an interesting scenario. So I have a PIR sensor here, and this is a Zigbee device. So I've got a hub in the background running, and now I can get this PIR activating different things for me. Now let me put it down for a moment, come back here. You can see the device, which is here. Going in there, you can see movement has been detected. That was obviously me moving it. And you can see the testing I've been doing with this. So if I now come back and we go to Smart, click on plus, click on when device status changes, PIR, state, motion detection. So if motion's detected, what we want to do, we want to run a device, the test light, we want to switch it on. So if it's been turned off, you know it will be turned on then. Mode wise, let's go to scene 1. We'll leave it at the brightness it is, so we won't set that. We can just click next to that. Now coming in here, we can set a delay. So we can say just for 5 seconds, and then I can say run the device, test light, mode, take it back to white, and the brightness we can keep at 50%. Save on that, next to that, and let's read this through. So this is the condition. Any movement detected, switch on the light, change the scene to 1, keep it on that color for 5 seconds, then change the color to white, and then the brightness to 50%. So let's save that, start using it, yes to that. So now if I come in and just put my hand over that, there you go, it's turned on. And it's also turned that one on, because obviously I've already got a rule for that, and now it's changed the color to white. So this would be useful in a situation, for example, if you had the PIR, say for instance, in your porch area or pointing somehow in a dry location in a porch outwards. So if someone walked up to your house and you wanted to be informed without any noise, just the fact that someone's there, this is a great way of doing it. So you'll be alerted straight away that someone's there. And then obviously you could have it on for a certain time, and then obviously change the brightness or color or whatever you wanted. Next thing I wanted to show is groups. So in my studio here, if I reposition the camera to point to the spotlights I've got at the top. Now, what I've done, if we look on the Smart Life app, each of those spotlights is a smart spotlight. So if I now scroll down, you can see me able to control individual bulbs. Now, this is quite a useful feature, because if you don't have a different circuit for every bulb or rows, for example, this will allow you to set your own configuration. So let me go into one of the bulbs, go to settings, create group, and now I can pick multiple bulbs to be in a group. If I click there, and now scrolling down, items of a similar type, so looking downwards, you can see other bulbs I have which have a similar functionality. This allows you to control those as well. So you're not limited to just spotlights. You can add in normal bulbs as well, even RGB strip lights, for example. So anything that's compatible within the app itself knows what's compatible for the group. You can add in. Now, I've got the 3 spotlights in there. If I click save, the group, I'll call it test group. Click save. And there's the group. And now if I press the button for a moment, press it again, and there you go. I can control them via here manually. Now, interesting side is even colors. I can set individual colors on this. Now, coming back from there, going back to white, take it to maximum. So what I've done in my scenario, when I'm in the room, I'm doing a bit of gaming, or even if I'm watching the TV here, I can actually set my own ambient light here. So coming to all devices, I've got a grouping called gaming lighting. And if I now click on that, turns the left and the middle rows off, so I don't get any glare on the screen coming from the lighting, and it gives a nice effect in the evenings when you're actually using the lights. It's a really useful functionality, being able to create groups. Next thing I want to show is notifications. Now, if I go into one of these, go to edit, and now in the task list, click the plus, you can see send notification. Now, clicking on there, there's 3 options available: message center, phone notification, and message notification. So message notification, if I click on that, that's a service you have to purchase. Phone notification, another service you have to purchase. And then finally we've got message center. So this is just the default messages that get collected by the app. Now if I select that one, click next. So what will happen when this automation activates, we should get a message coming to us. So now if I click save, and I just move my hand over this, the light's turned on, and there you go. There's the message that comes through. Now let's turn that light off for a moment, and if I click here, go to message center, and there you go. There's the messages that have come through. Now clicking on this, and then you can delete them if you wanted to. Select all and delete, or you can just leave. Looking through the list, these are all the notifications that have come through on devices I have. Clicking on this one, it will tell you general things about your home. So if firmware needs to be updated, and you can see there, I have a Zigbee gateway, and it says it's completed the update for that. And there's another device which is a light switch, and it has 3 buttons, and it's been an update on that one as well. Now coming over here, bulletins. So this will tell you if someone's logged in with your account. So useful to know that if a device has gone offline. So you can see here, device offline, check the network, look, check the network connection of vintage lamp. And now coming over here, we've got some info, enable notifications. So you can turn off notifications. If you were getting bombarded with them for a small period and you just wanted to turn them off, you can do it from here. Alarm, do not disturb schedule. So you can say during these periods, do not disturb. And you can pick your devices. Coming back, home bulletin notification settings, system notification, and marketing message. So you can turn these off. Then looking down, you've got more services. These are additional services you can see which are featured. So AI filtered notification. So it's a service. So no devices I have actually have this option. So it's interesting, it says that you don't end up buying something that's irrelevant to you. Cloud services, only one of my devices has this. You can see it's a porch camera. Phone notification, again I showed that before, and then message notification. These are the locations where you can subscribe and purchase these things. Third-party access services, these are the access services we have. If I click on one, some details there. Now coming back, go to my order. You can see if you've ordered any of these services. Looking towards the bottom, you can see settings, and here sound is disabled, app notification, options here, enable notifications, alarm, do not disturb, schedule, home bulletin, and notification settings. So again, you can turn these off. Going back, network diagnostics, about network diagnostics, clear cache, and log out. So you can log out of the app. Coming back to automation, if I click If we edit one, select Smart, if I go on there, launch, tap to run, or enable or disable automation. So these are additional things you can do. So for instance, if you had a piece of automation which was already set up in tap to run, you can get that launching as well. So you can see these three options here that I already have. We can already get those working too. Enable or disable automation. So if you wanted an action to happen and then you wanted some automation to be disabled, this is where you do it. Coming back, come back again. If we go back in there, delay. I've already tested this, but you can set delays as many times as you want in different locations. Useful to do if you wanted things to happen in a different order. You didn't want it happening immediately. Next thing I wanted to show is the other widget. So this is the first widget, which is the device widget, which allows you to control each of the individual devices. Now, if I come over here, click on this, go to widgets, search for Smart Life, click there, and we've got the tap to run. So clicking on there, adding it on, you can see your tap to run shortcuts. So another shortcut to get to your automation you've created. So buttons to initiate things. So having this on your background, you can just click the button here and it just kicks in the rule you set up. Next thing, I wanted to show how you can use devices to initiate other devices. So I've shown it with lights, but you can do this with switches as well. Now looking here, I've shown this in another video I've done about a no neutral hack. So this particular light switch, it's actually got live and neutral connected on the switch, and that's it, nothing else. So if you look in the link above, I'll give a shortcut to that to show how to wire that up. So what I have the switch here, and it doesn't control anything from the actual switch itself. I've actually got automation set up, so when a button's pressed, something initiates. So looking at the Smart Life app, so if we go to this one here, if I edit that, you can see on the 3-button switch, which is the one here, if I press switch 2 to on, it will turn a lamp on. Now if I press it just to show, there you go, lamp's turned on. And I've got another piece of automation that if I press it again, turns the lamp off. It's an excellent bit of functionality there. Now coming back from here, and if I go to this one, and you can see if I press switch 1, it will turn the living room light on. There you go. There's another one to turn it off. Now coming back from here, just to show, you can see the automation I've set up. So that's the on one here, off one's there. For the lamps, you've got the on and then the off. And then finally, I've got one for the curtains I have. So you can see the camera repositioned at my curtains, and that's for button 3. So if I click that now, there you go, curtains start closing. So again, you don't even have to have the switch in your normal light switch position. You could actually position it anywhere and just have a location where you can press a button for an action to happen. All you need is power going to these switches. And there we have it opening. I'll just go in there for a moment just to show this. There you go. So there you go. I hope this video has given people a good idea of what's possible with both the Smart Life and the Tuya apps. There's a lot of possibilities available via these apps, and they're not just basic apps just for turning devices on and off. You can automate things, schedule things, have little shortcuts created. Many possibilities are there to help make your smart tech even smarter. Thanks for viewing, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.